Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Aliens and Angels, June the 16th, 2024. So today, this is our live question and answer Q&A community chat. And the subject today is inside spaceships. Have you ever wondered what the inside of spaceships look like? So we've seen a lot of footage of UFOs, and most of all that is of the outside, but we see very little information about what the inside of these ships is like, and from different perspectives and from different experiences. So today I'll share much about my experience aboard the big ship. And I'm asking you to please post your questions and comments during the live chat. And you're also welcome to join our Facebook group called Aliens and Angels. All of the links are featured below in the description. Do check me out, subscribe to my channels, leave me a comment, like my videos, and share my content with your friends. So we're moving right along with these live chats. I'm really enjoying them very, very much. So today, before we get started, I got my intro. See if it works today. Awesome. Yes, it worked today. So I want to just let you know that I'm new to StreamYard. And so although it's a very easy system to use, there's a lot of different components that I have to sort of toggle between. So please bear with me. Let's take a look in the comment section. I'm going to say hi to our live participants. And wow. Selena Ingalls, nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Should be a really good conversation. We've got Canadian Spinja. Hi, Spin. I miss you. I'm so glad you came today. There's Don Rogers at March the 4th Productions. And special hello to you, Don. Nice to see you. And Selena Ingalls says hi to everybody. And she thinks my intro is cool. Thank you. Thank you for that. So I'll tell you who made the intro for me is Andy Gambino and of the unidentified S4, and also, oh my gosh, he slipped my mind, his name, SM Player, Anthony SM Player from the unidentified S4 channel. They made that for me. So I was really, really happy. Thank you for mentioning the Facebook group, Selena. Please do join the Facebook group, because everyone who joins the Facebook group and then watches my podcasts will be eligible to enter the free giveaway that I'm going to hold in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to be giving away some orgone generators, some handmade crafts by Canadian Spinja, and I've ordered stickers, so there'll be some stickers that I'm going to make up a little packet. So maybe next week or the week after, whenever everything is here, I'm going to arrange a little display so I can show you guys what I'm giving away with the free giveaway. But also, the Aliens and Angels group on Facebook has got a lot of super interesting content. So definitely you want to join. And Selena also says, Happy Father's Day. Yes, Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So Don, I know you're a father, and there's many other fathers out there, so happy Father's Day, and thank you for joining me today. This is really awesome. So today, first of all, I want to talk about how there is no one way of experiencing the big ships or any kind of UFOs or anything like that. And just because I have my experience doesn't mean that other experiences are not valid. They're all very valid, and I validate each and every one of you. And to be quite honest, I don't expect anyone to believe what I'm telling you from my experience because it's really out there and it's very fantastical. And if I hadn't experienced it for myself, I wouldn't have believed it either. So it's not about asking you to believe what I'm saying. It's just more of a forum to invite all of you to come on and express yourselves of what you've experienced. So, just a little bit of background for those of you who are not familiar with my situation. My experience I consider to be very transdimensional. It happened to me around 2013. And it was for a 3-month period, and it happened every night after I went to bed and fell asleep. And at first, I thought I was dreaming. And then I realized I wasn't dreaming. And then I thought I must be crazy. But then over time, I came to accept that, yes, this was my real experience. And I'm even putting together a book about my experiences that I hope to publish this year. I say that every year, but this year, really for sure, I hope to have it published. And that's my experience. I can't explain how I got to the big ship. I can't explain how I got returned in the morning. There's definitely a time dilation. So while I was away, I believe I was outside of our common time and space because I could be gone for days, weeks, months, and then wake up in the morning and I'm back in my own little bed and only one night has passed. So it was a bit crazy making because I never knew when I woke up which reality was the real reality. I didn't know how much time had passed. I'd have to switch on the TV or take a look at a newspaper just to confirm that I was definitely coming back to our reality every day. And it was really, really quite something. So today I thought I would kick things off by talking about what I experienced as far as what the inside of the big ship was like. And to keep it fairly concise, what I'm going to do is actually read a little bit from my transcript from my book, just to keep me on course and make sure I don't miss anything that's important. And then after that, I think we can get into a group discussion. And those of you in the audience are, please feel free to talk about your experiences. This is a safe place. If you've been on board a ship or ships or different kinds of ships, I want to hear from you. You'll not be made fun of, you'll be validated, and your say is important, just as important as my say. So with that, I'm just going to open up my notes and read to you a bit about my experience. So people often ask me, where is the big ship located? They want to know if it's from our solar system or star quadrant or galaxy. And the truth is that the big ship is not located in any of these physical three-dimensional places. It sits in an interdimensional envelope located at the intersection point of many different interdimensional places. And in this way, it's possible for the big ship to interface with many. Uh, sorry, I'm trying to read and look at the camera at the same time. I think I'll just stick to reading. In this way, it is possible for the big ship to interface with many positions within the multiverse and even the spiritual realms. So I invite you to imagine a complex Venn diagram with many oval shapes overlapping each other here and there. Each oval represents a different dimensional reality or physical universe. At the center is an area where every one of those ovals in the Venn diagram overlaps at the same time. And this is interdimensional space. and this is where the big ship is located. From there, it's easy to host many beings from many different dimensional realities, including what we perceive as our 3D reality. It's also interesting to note that all of these dimensional realities coexist in the now, and so there is no need to travel through time and space, which are constructs of our making. So, you do not need to travel to access the big ship, and the big ship does not actually travel anywhere. It alters perceived location by altering its frequency, which shifts it to another place. Point A becomes point B, and more about this later in the book. In addition, I only remember seeing the big ship from the outside once, and I do not remember if I was viewing it from a smaller craft or if I was viewing the big ship from a disembodied state or via remote viewing. Could have been astral projection. I do not know the mechanics of how this works. I only know how I experience things. It appeared black, glossy, and reflective, with arms that protruded from the sides, which bent off to the side like the arms of a galaxy. There were docking bays on and within the arms, where the smaller crafts were built or docked and stored. The main body of the ship was shaped like a plump button. It was basically spherical with a flattened top and bottom. From time to time, other city ships, which looked similar, visited and joined the big ship, docking on the top or the bottom, which caused a stacking effect. Times of this joining facilitated trade, community celebrations, and joint projects. It was a very exciting time. I learned via the virtual reality headset that the docking arms of many ships can also straighten out and connect tip to form mesh-like worlds that surround small stars. They remain in these universal communities for thousands of years, but from time to time, individual ships will break off to pursue other interests. When this happens, the remaining ships adjust their location slightly so that the hole in the net disappears. At other times, incoming city ships will join the net, and in this case, the other ships will adjust their location to accommodate their incoming neighbor. These are also the places where new city ships are created and incubated to maturity. When they are ready to leave the net world, they carry an experienced crew who immigrate from other older city ships. And as you will soon learn, these city ships are organic and conscious beings of themselves. So, so that's basically what I learned. Now, I did mention I want to explain a little bit more about the virtual reality headsets. So there was a few different ways of learning aboard the big ship. We could wear these virtual reality headsets, were just like a thin band that would go around the back of your head and come to your temples. There's a little kind of a button-shaped piece on either edge that just sits and rests gently on your temples. Whoops. And sorry, I bumped my screen here. And so because of that, I was able to interface directly with the data banks of the big ship. And that was how I got a lot of my learning. But I also experienced using some small, what we would consider tablets that could project images in three-dimensional, like a hologram, or as a flat two-dimensional image. And also we learned from each other. So just going back to where I left off here and talk a bit more about inside the big ship. So to add more detail, the city ships are very, very large, miles and miles in diameter. Some city ships are so enormous, like a mega metropolis as seen here on Earth, but some are as big as the Earth or even larger. And I learned that there's great diversity among these city ships. Although many are as I have described, some are even more spectacular, and they can be organic, etheric, and/or light ships depending on the nature of the beings that dwell in them and their purpose for being. The interior layout of the big ship is like an easy-to-navigate labyrinth with many flat floors. There are no sharp corners, as every room and space is cylindrical or ovoid in shape. Except for our sleeping quarters and bath areas, everything is well lit, but I couldn't tell where exactly the light was coming from. It appeared to just emanate from the walls, ceilings, and floors, and the degree of illumination depends on what tasks are required for any particular area. In addition, the floors, walls, and ceilings were seamless and appeared to me be made of something like soft-feeling cream-colored leather. They were not rigid, but were somewhat flexible or slightly spongy to the touch. If you were to fall, you would not get hurt, and it was very comfortable to sit or even recline on the floor, which many prefer over furniture. I noticed that the walls were reactive to the touch. At one point during my orientation, I ran my finger down the wall as I scrutinized its texture and was surprised to find little ripples emanate from my touch. So it was really kind of cute. The walls actually reacted to my touch. And that was when I first started to realize that the ship was biological. You might be wondering how we get from one point to another on these enormous city ships. Many of us walk to where we wish to go, but for longer distances, we were transported within the big ship by vertical anti-gravity lifts or horizontal moving pathways, something like a conveyor belt system, but without any visible moving parts. You just kind of stepped on it and you just moved without any visible moving parts. It was very, very cool. When I was on board, I realized that the whole ship was alive and intuitive, and I learned it utilizes something like self-assembling biological nanocomponents, which form according to our needs and our intentions. Everything is linked into the biological intelligence because the big ship is alive and conscious. It operates like artificial intelligence, but it is organic or biological and not artificial. We can telepathically communicate with it directly, and it learns very fast. I don't know if it has a brain or what, and I did not see any evidence of computers or anything like that. I don't know the details of how it works, but it is the coolest thing that I have ever seen. And more about this in the chapter on my orientation. I also realized there was some spatial reality aboard the big ship. For instance, we can't all manifest our quarters at the same place, and the basic layout was designed with a purpose. But each section has everything for every purpose and just self-assembles according to your intention. My experience was not at all like a Star Trek episode. I saw no evidence of technology apart from the devices, which projected holographic images to suit our needs, or the virtual reality headsets, and there were no panels with lights requiring constant adjustments or recalibrations. Part of the crew were special technicians who communicated with the big ship telepathically in order to tend to its needs. There was also a mechanism for creating things we needed or desired, like clothing, but I did not personally witness this in action. Apparently, the big ship and other city ships must be biological or organic in nature in order for them to traverse the various and different dimensional realities. You might be wondering, who cleans the interior of the big ship? We have no need for janitors or cleaning crews. The cleaning system is automatic, is almost undetectable, and is part of the environmental system which supplies our oxygen and other airborne necessities. Some beings emit more odor than others, and by contrast, others have a very sensitive sense of smell. To remedy this and other issues like the shedding of skin cells, fibers, dust particles, bacteria, or even spills or breakage, the big ship emits a the big ship emits a type of fine, neutralizing, cleansing, and sanitizing mist, which breaks waste down to its smallest components as it settles on everything and everyone. And then it is gently sucked back into the ventilation system and is recycled along with all other waste materials. This substance does no harm to the beings, and it's barely noticeable. The air and the environment are kept clean all of the time. It's like a consistently recycling the atmosphere on the big ship. So getting back to the transport vehicles, I'm almost done here. Getting back to the transport mechanisms on the big ship, I had one very memorable experience I want to tell you about. At one point, as we prepared to leave the big ship, we used the vertical transport system to head down to the docking bay, which was located on one of the ship's arms. The vertical transport system was very long, like a mile long, as it services many floors. I stepped off the platform into what appeared to be nothing, as I seemed to be suspended in an empty space, and I placed my hands on the handle grips which determine the speed of descent. I wanted to see how fast I could go at maximum speed of descent and went whipping down, squealing with laughter. The female being who was waiting to come down after me jumped on head first with her feet up in the air, and she came flying down after me in mock pursuit. We had great fun and laughter racing down to the docking bay. And when we reach the bottom, there's just like a little poof of air, but no noticeable impact. And we simply stepped off and onto the docking bay platform. As I mentioned before, the ship is biological and it is made up of many different sections or cubicles that can easily convert depending on your telepathic intention. As I mentioned earlier, each section has everything for every purpose and just self-assembles according to your desire. Everything is seamlessly automated with no moving parts. Even the doorways appear and respond to your intention, then dissolve after you go through them. So I want to talk now about something that may be TMI, but I think it's interesting. Very few people talk about where they go to the bathroom on spaceships. So I definitely wanted to include that in my book, according to my experience. So the restrooms are really cool. They're small and they have a platform that comes out of the wall. You never have to touch anything. Since we all share a similar body design, the plumbing mechanisms are very simple. Basically, after dropping your drawers, you squat slightly and a pleated type of wide tube will extend up from the platform and it offers as much support as you want. So you just rest your butt gently on it. And when you're done, you don't have to do anything. The toilet tube, which is what I call it, it sprays a fine mist, which is immediately and gently sucked back down the tube. This mist instantly dissolves any debris, moisture, etc., that might exist back down the tube. So you just pull up your pants and go. Afterwards, the pleated tube sinks back into the platform, which then recedes back into the wall. By the way, these beings are healthier than us and don't need to go to the bathroom very often, not like us. There are no hand sanitizers or anything like that. The housekeeping system is very simple. Every room emits a fine enzymatic mist-like substance that sanitizes, removes odors, etc., and is constantly sucked or vacuumed away by a silent, gentle air conditioning or filtration system. The mist is completely inert and does not hurt the body or health in any way. Everything, including our clothes, are constantly sanitized. And one final piece of information, All waste material from food scraps, the restroom, or discarded clothing, everything goes back into a recycling system where it's broken down into its smaller elements by biological critters that I call bugs, and they are alive and they thrive in that environment. The resultant fluids are fed back into the 3D printing system, which operates a little bit like a replicator. But I also want to mention that food is never replicated. It's not like a Star Trek experience, not really. There's some similarities, but the reality is actually much more advanced and much more eco-friendly. So that's just a small excerpt from my book. I'm going to take a moment and just say hello to the people I haven't said hello to and take a look at some of your comments. Here's Don Rogers. He says, Don Rogers at March 4th Productions. He says, I have experiences in both this one we live in, as well as outside spaceships and time while my human vessel was in rest. Both experiences involve time dilation. Yeah, absolutely. Same with my experience. So, you hear about abductions and things like that. Well, some of us, it's a very different process and it seems quite consensual. Just want to say hi to John P. Adventures. Karen, hug sister. Hello, brother. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show. And John P. Adventures also says, Happy Father's Day, everyone. Yes, yes. Welcome and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And then there is Azik9, who says, interesting live. Thank you. Thank you very much. And he also says, my problem is being around the women, hard to look away and have the urge to touch. Yeah, I totally get that. Because on the last podcast we did last week, go ahead and go back and watch the replay if you missed it. I talk about the beings, and the beings are very much like us, but they're beautiful. They're healthy. They're muscular. They're fit. They're gorgeous. And I would just often catch myself staring. And some of them were just sort of ignored me, some tolerated me, and some got a kick out of me. So I totally hear you on that account. And Ezek9 also says, also too curious with the technology. Yeah, super interesting. It's so far advanced from what we experience. It's hard to even imagine. And sorry, Rudy, for butchering your name. Rudy Irahita with autism says 1:27 p.m. Central. Thank you for keeping us posted on the time. I'm just going to go and change my banner now. Let's have a look. There we go. Give you a little bit more information. And yeah, so that's my experience. So I'm hoping that some of you will share your experiences, or if you have any questions, if you want to know more about my experience, just pop the question in the chat and I'd be happy to answer it. So yeah, it's quite the experience. So I'm writing a book, and like I said, I hope to have it published this year. And I cover everything. I cover my orientation, how I ended up on the big ship, what that was like, just kind of being there, who I met, what the process was like. It was really interesting. I was assigned quarters. I was assigned a buddy. They have a buddy system where they choose another being who lives on the big ship. So many of these beings on the big ship live there permanently. They don't live on planets. There's lots and lots of humanoids that do not live on planets. And so she was assigned to me. And of course, she was quite a bit taller than me. She had pale skin like me, but it had kind of a little bit of a kind of blue tinge to it, a teal kind of tinge to it. And she had short red hair with all these little swirls on top, like an Abyssinian guinea pig. Really, she was very cute. She's very sweet. And she stayed with me until I felt completely comfortable to be on my own. So it was really, really nice. And she taught me the beginning how to do telepathy because she was able to communicate with me before I was able to communicate with her. And then when I did communicate, I was kind of sloppy with it. But anyway, I took training. That's all going to be in my book on how to do telepathy. And interestingly, you can all use a similar type of exercises to improve your telepathy as well here on Earth. So there was that. The food is never replicated, as I mentioned. It grows in every department. So there's things like fruits and berries and vegetables and all kinds of things. But these things also kind of pride themselves in what I would call crafts, where they will make things that would be like cheeses or yogurts or fermented foods. And they use different methods, natural methods of processing them to help release more of the nutrients and especially proteins, because I didn't see any livestock at all or notice any meat in our food. There were people who would come aboard visiting, from different planets and different delegations and things, and they would often bring snacks with them that would be very similar to what beef jerky is like here. And it was spiced in all different ways. Some of the spices I didn't have taste buds for, so I couldn't really tell what they tasted like. But apparently, if we kept eating those foods over time, we would develop the taste buds to pick up those flavors that are basically unique to the worlds they came from. So they did have spices and things, fermentation. Some things were cooked. It was very interesting, but you just, whatever you kind of got a craving for, you could just pick it and take it with you to where we prepared our meals. And so we had these elements that basically, just as we desired them, they just came up from the floor, and they had both heating and cooling elements depending on how we wanted to prepare our food. And we would usually kind of recline in small groups and take our food, and it was a very relaxed environment. And of course, there's no talking anywhere. Now, some beings do emit sounds, and there's gesturing. Some gesture a lot, some gesture very little, but most of the communication is done through telepathy. Okay, we got another question here in the chat. Ezek9 says, do you have a special technique given or specific for making contact with ships locating you? Not in the beginning, not to my knowledge. It just happened. I can't even explain it. It just happened where I woke up in the morning and the night before I had had my orientation process, which lasted a couple of weeks. And when I first woke up, I was really disoriented. I did not know what the heck was going on. Fortunately, at that time in my life, I was kind of a recluse. I didn't have a lot of contact with people. I didn't have much of a social life. I was doing a lot of intense shadow work, and working on myself to become a better person. Because in the past, I got mixed up with the wrong crowds and ended up having all kinds of problems. And I wanted better for myself and for my life. And I also wanted a different kind of spirituality that I wasn't receiving from any books or religions or anything like that. So I was working very intensely on myself. Interestingly, I had been using cannabis for medical reasons, and I had stopped using cannabis just before this process of extraterrestrial contact started. So I'm not saying anything pro or against cannabis use. I think it has its place in society and in healthcare. But for me, it was interesting that it started after I stopped, and my extraterrestrial contact stopped before I started using it medicinally again, because I had a lot of body pain, a lot of health issues. So I would say if you're looking for a technique, I would suggest, first of all, taking very good care of the temple body, making sure you get a lot of nutrient-dense foods and stay away from frankenfoods and foods that are not foods at all, that are chemical dopamine producers. And everyone hates it when I say this. Getting off sugar and refined carbohydrates is huge. and I had been doing all of that before I had my experiences. Then learning to relax, to really get the body feeling good in a nice, warm, relaxed manner. You can do this by lying out in the sun. You can do this by meditation. There's all different kinds of meditations. Anything that helps you to deeply, deeply relax, I think is really important. And then eventually to let go of censoring and controlling our thoughts so that our minds are kind of just in free flow. You could even call it the flow, where you're not thinking about anything in particular. Thoughts just kind of come and go, and you don't really grab onto any of them. And I think those are important steps. And also modifying your lifestyle so that you're getting a good night's sleep, because I was in very deep sleep. My head would hit the pillow, and the next thing I knew, I was waking up. And the other thing too is don't discount your experiences. You may be having interdimensional or transdimensional experiences, but you just kind of go, oh, that's silly. And you don't have anyone to talk to about it, which is another reason why I created this podcast, was so that you wouldn't feel alone and you could share those experiences and maybe sort out what's going on for you. And yeah, so I would say no to anything specific, but yes to the things I just mentioned. So now I'm just going to take a moment, folks, to put on the screen a brief promotion, because I have a lot of expenses that go with providing this information and my channels, my website, and everything. So I just want to tell you a little bit about um, one way that I recoup some of my expenses, but also ways that you could truly benefit yourself. And again, this may be what initiated contact, because this is when I started using orgone generators. So I will just play a very short clip for you now. Hi guys, break time for a short message. YouTube will not monetize me, so if you enjoy my content and want to support my efforts, help me to cover my expenses by visiting my shop to buy yourself a beautiful orgone generator. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand, and they are ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. Many people are finding comfort with Zendome's orgone generators, commonly called Orgonite. They are a simple compound which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They are a simple compound with alchemic and energetic properties. These devices function as self-driven, continuously operating, highly efficient, negative to positive energy transmutation factories. They help diminish the harmful effects of electromagnetic frequency radiation by attracting and converting negative energies, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. And they help to purify the atmosphere and accelerate plant growth. They also help stimulate positive mood and are a natural remedy for poor sleep patterns. When orgonite is within range of any corded or wireless electronic device, it will efficiently and continuously transform that energy into orgone as it is being transmitted. This essentially creates orgone energy transmitters out of any and all emitters of harmful negative energy. You can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, in case you missed it, I am doing a giveaway next month, probably, well, in a couple of weeks, we'll see. And it's for everyone who's a member of the Aliens and Angels group that's on Facebook. And also if you participate in the show. And I'm going to do a giveaway, and I will include some of my beautiful orgone generators and some other items. And as soon as I get everything organized, I will actually have a bit of an image to show you so that you can see what you will get in the next giveaway. So more about that later. So, oh, Don says pets love them too. Don Rogers at March 4th Production says pets love them too. Yeah, pets also love orgone generators. They're very attracted to them. And amethyst is a crystal that's extremely beneficial for cats and dogs. And so I've got quite a few orgone generators that have amethyst, including some small pieces that are suitable for pets. So you can visit my website if you want to know more about that. So let's get back to inside the big ships. Or just inside any kind of ships. I'm wondering, Dawn, do you have any comments? I know you've been with the Secret Space Program. You've been on a number of different types of ships. I'm wondering if they were ET made or man-made or a combination of both. And I'm wondering if you have any comments as to what they were like, how they operated. Some people say that the ships appear to be very metallic-like, but seamless if they are extraterrestrial made. And if they're man-made, often then you can see rivets and bolts and things like that, and external antenna and things like that. As for inside the scout ships, different people that I have talked to and that I've had on my shows, they say that it's like metallic inside. It's usually they're what we would consider flying saucers. And then, but when they want to see outside, the walls become transparent and then they can see outside. So that is something that seems to be quite common in experiences. And yeah, so that's about it. I can't really speak to other people's experiences aboard the ships because, they're very different. A lot of people, I think the one thing we do have in common is the lighting source. There's no lamps or light fixtures in the ceiling or anything like that. The walls and the room just seems to be illuminated. And that's the one thing that we seem to all have in common, that we've noticed that. Some people have experienced a medical environment aboard the different ships, um, what you call gurneys or tables that they would lay on and have experiments done on them and different things. There's some talks about that. Oh, Don has a comment here. He says, Don Rogers at March 4th Production says, most that I recall were biointuitive and crystalline, like you mentioned, and with non-verbal communication. Yeah, that's sort of my experience too. It's just everything is geared for telepathy. Telepathy is the international, I guess that's not the right word, universal language, because for a number of reasons. For one reason, we all have the ability to use it. It just some of us need a little bit of practice and waking up those parts of our brain. But the other thing is there's no misunderstanding. You get what another's intention is, absolutely comes across in the telepathy. You get what their intention is. And there's deceit is very unlikely. I suppose there's some beings that could use deceit, but I didn't experience that myself. So yeah, that's very interesting, Don, that you've had that experience as well. So we've still got about 15 minutes left. If you've just recently joined us in this live show, please feel free to put any questions you have in the live chat. If you want to share some of your experiences or things you've been wondering about in the live chat, you're more than welcome to. There's no such thing as a stupid question. All the information is valuable, and we're all just trying to make sense of this phenomena that the mainstream reality tells us isn't real. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being gaslit. I'm tired of being worried about whether people will make fun of me or being rejected because of my experiences. I'm not falling for that anymore. I'm bold and out there and talking about what I've been through, and this is real for me. And like I mentioned before, I don't expect anybody to just believe me. That's not my intention. It's to open people's minds, see what's possible, and give courage to those who might be a little bit curious, sort of a place where they can start coming out of the closet. Don, I noticed you've posted a web link, and I'm not able to click onto that. I don't know if I can with StreamYard. Maybe I need to learn how, but I'm not able to. Oh, it's for the aliens. Oh, and Angels Facebook group. Okay, fantastic. So those of you who are in the chat, copy and paste that, or open up a new window in your web browser and copy this and put it in there so that you can join the group. We'd love to have you. I've noticed there's very little drama in this group, and most perspectives are respected. I approve a lot of the posts until I get to know you better and get to know the nature of your posts. And I do not approve posts that have frightening information or visuals or religions that say these are all demons and you're all going to hell for experiencing this. I won't allow any of that nonsense. But if it's just your experiences or interesting shows you've seen that you want to share, or anything like that, you're more than welcome to. Thank you, Don Rogers at March 4th Productions. I keep saying at March 4th Productions because I want people to go over and check out your YouTube channel. So Don, please feel free to put your link to your channels or your Rumble channel, or if any of you have some pertinent information, leave your link so that other people can copy and paste it. Now, there is a way that I can make those links live where you just click on them, but I don't know how to do that yet. So that's on my to-do list, as it were. But yeah, Don Rogers got some really interesting experiences with the Secret Space program and interdimensional experiences. And of course, Canadian Spinja has a channel as well, and she has all kinds of guests on and interviews them, and it really helps people to open up their minds. Canadian Spinja says, "I don't have any memories of being on a ship, but I'm here to listen and learn about others' experiences. I'm here to support." Yes, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And for those of you who want to, I will just quickly put up here, this is the Facebook group link, but I think you need to be in the live chat to access that or copy and paste it into a browser. And here is Don Rogers' link to his channel, in case you want to, like I said, go into the live chat and copy it and paste it into another browser. And then please do subscribe and like his content. And that's the other thing I'm going to do, is just quickly change that banner that I have here. Yes, please do. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channels. I'm on Rumble and X and YouTube. I'm also on Telegram. I'm part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, and I'm on all the audio platforms. And please do subscribe and like my content if you like it, and share it with everybody, because I am trying to grow my channel. I'm hoping to grow it to the point where I can have some channel memberships, accept super chats, things like that. And of course, all of those things help me to keep producing content and to improve my content as time goes by. Yeah, so that's about it, I guess. I'm going to, until we get more comments, if we do get any more comments, I'm going to now talk a little bit about what's coming up in the weeks ahead. So as I already mentioned, there will be a giveaway where I will be giving away some orgone generators, some stickers, and a beautiful piece of handcrafted crochet work that's been or knitted, not sure, by Canadian Spenja. And when she creates her handicraft, she incorporates positive intention and high vibrational frequency. So they have a little something a little bit special. And so we're going to have that giveaway in the upcoming weeks. And so I really recommend you come back and join us for the show. And if you've missed the live, please feel free to watch the replay and post that on your different socials and invite people to come check out the show. And I would really, really appreciate it. Then, coming up next week, we're going to talk about whether abductions are man-made. So this is not meant to offend anybody who has had an abduction experience. But as we talked about on a past podcast from Aliens and Angels, we talked about, are humans working with aliens? Now, a lot of people who have the rather frightening, very three-dimensional physical experiences, that might involve some interdimensional components. They may find that they pass through glass or walls or the roof even, how they're sort of in a beam of light taken to the ship. And they usually talk about beings that we would consider what they call the stereotypical grays. Not sure exactly what family they're from, planet, whether they're from here, living underground or beneath the ocean, I don't know. But often there is an element where they're taken to subterranean DUMS, which is deep underground, I don't know, medical science things. I forget what DUM stands for, but the underground. And there is some obvious cooperation with military. So sometimes there's human military presence on the ship. Sometimes there's human military presence in these underground bases. I don't have experience with those. So I'm just talking from what I've learned and what I've heard from other people. And so we're going to delve a little bit into that more next week. And, are abductions human initiated or constructs by humans? And another reason why that may be happening, if it is happening, is, and that may not be true for all abductions. Let me make myself clear. This is some abductions, I don't know, but they may be doing it to frighten people, to make them, they might be completely human initiated and orchestrated to frighten people and to make us afraid of extraterrestrials. Now, in my opinion, if extraterrestrials were here to do us harm, they would have done that a long time ago. So, but I mean, it's not out of the question, but I'm just saying. So next week, we're going to delve into that. So bring your questions, your experiences, invite your friends when we go live, same time at noon Mountain, 2 p.m. Eastern, or 11 a.m. Pacific. And the week after that, June 30th, I'm having a guest, Philip Kinsella. Philip was recently on one of my episodes of the Quantum Guide Show. So another reason to go check out my channels and to watch that video. Very interesting fella, very intelligent, and he has been abducted, but he's also been a researcher for over 30 years. And he's got a lot of valuable information. And we're going to toss around the idea of, are aliens and angels different things, components of the same thing? How are the different ways we can look at it? Because I've also had an angelic encounter that was, I don't know, maybe 5 years before my extraterrestrial experience. It just happened one time and in one evening. And I perceive them as being very, very different beings and very different experiences, but that may not be true for other people. So June 30th, mark your calendars. You'll want to come back and join us for that, and bring your friends, invite your friends, and hopefully you will post. I put my invitations and notices quite liberally throughout Facebook. If you're a Facebook member, send me a friend request if you like. Sometimes it's hard to tell who's a bot and who's a real human. So if I do not accept your friend request and you're a real person and you're sincere, please feel free to contact me through Messenger and let me know you tried to extend me a friend request and it was denied. Because sometimes, like I said, it's hard to tell, and it's really hard to keep up with the bots. There are so many. So that's the announcements I have. Oh, definitely you want to check out the Quantum Guide Show, which is my other podcast. It will be coming out Wednesday evening. It's a pre-record at this point. Eventually, I will move that show also onto StreamYard. And I've got a panel, and Canadian Spinjet and Don Rogers are part of that panel, along with Jennifer Halkame and Stephen Stathis from BGcast. And we're going to be taking a look at the simulation. But more than that, simulation theory. Are we living in a simulation? But more than that, it's a 3-part series. So it'll be aired on the third Wednesday of each month for the next 3 months. And we're going to talk about harnessing the simulation. So if we are in a simulation, and it kind of looks like we might be, then how can we harness it and really make it work for us? So I'm very, very excited to bring you that on Wednesday. I know you're going to want to join us. And we just got Angel Wings just popped in. Hi, Angel Wings. She says, love you, fire and hearts. Thank you so much. You're a real sweetheart. And she also says, love you all. I mean, LOL. Awesome. Nice that you could join us. And please do feel free to watch the replay. And so glad to have you all here. So that's, I guess, about it for today. I'm just trying to look at my time. Where's my time? Yep, we're almost out of time. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure to be here and spend time with you. And with that, I'm going to just shuffle off to Buffalo and leave you with the outro. And yeah, just love to all of you. Hope you have the best week ever. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. A very special thank you to Andy Gambino and Anthony Essempler from the Unidentified S4 channel for creating the beautiful introduction for this podcast. Until next time, keep up the good work.